And we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league. I'm honestly starting to think there's a strategy to this madness. There's a method to this madness.
Monica McNutt just argued that Caitlin Clark's massive popularity comes from being a white girl from the American heartland, not because she's shattering records nonstop, casually pulling up from the logo, attracting entirely new audiences to the sport, or completely changing the landscape of women's basketball. Seriously?
Here's Monica McNutt, ESPN broadcaster, covers the WNBA. Not a bad broadcaster, but she just can't help herself. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
In this video, we're calling out this outrageous opinion that's got basketball fans fuming everywhere. On top of that, Jason Whitlock delivers a savage critique that leaves McNutt ducking for cover. The disrespect aimed at Clark has hit a whole new level, and it's time to get to the truth of what's going on. Ready? Let's dive in.
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games, but I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
Did Monica McNutt seriously attempt to shrink the most thrilling player in women's basketball down to just her looks and hometown? In a BBC interview with Caddy K, McNutt argued that Caitlin Clark's fame comes from being a white girl from the American heartland rather than her extraordinary talent. This dismissive claim sparked instant backlash on social media, with fans condemning McNutt for downplaying Clark's groundbreaking influence on the sport.
And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Let's be clear, Clark isn't setting viewership records because of who she is. She's earning them by smashing the NCAA scoring record, draining logo threes that leave defenders frozen, pulling off no-look passes that would make Larry Bird proud, and showing court vision that elevates entire offenses. Even Magic Johnson has recognized this. Yet, somehow, McNutt chose to zero in on Clark's race instead of celebrating her game-changing skills.
It's been spectacular and exceeded expectations. The pick and roll between Caitlin and Aaliyah has been fantastic. Kelsey Mitchell is having a career year, and all of those role players get a slice. I don't know quite how.
Well, that's a lot of pizza pie. I get you. But there's got to be one big slice, and that's Clark. What percentage are we talking about for Caitlin Clark? 80%, 90%, 95%?
I mean, listening to her all season long, I've called a couple of their games. She's team first. Statistically, you're probably looking at least 60%.
One user on X wrote, while another was blunt, "This woman only serves up bad takes. I don't even know why she's on ESPN." The backlash cut across all demographics, with basketball fans from every corner rallying to defend Clark's status as a true sports phenomenon.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, but I often argue, when I've argued with folks about this, you think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Magic Johnson? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Larry Bird? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Michael Jordan? Because guess what? There were great players that were in the sport before they ever arrived, who did everything they could to make the NBA what it was. But it was when those brothers arrived that it took on an extra dimension and elevated to another level.
McNutt's argument conveniently overlooks the obvious. If being a white girl from Middle America were the key to WNBA fame, why haven't players like Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Sue Bird, or Cameron Brink reached the same level of popularity as Clark? If appearance were the main driver of Clark's appeal, these other stars would have drawn comparable attention, but they clearly haven't.
Sabrina, Brianna, Kelsey, Diana Taurasi. You had and have these white players in the league that never galvanized the people like this. All right. Now, granted, you can have some people come back and say, well, the media and the coverage wasn't as good as it is now. NILs and things like that weren't popping off. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it, man. If they were that captivating, they would have got the eyes.
The irony is striking. In attempting to comment on representation in sports, McNutt actually diminished a female athlete who may be doing more for the growth of women's basketball than almost anyone in history. She boiled Clark's hard work, commitment, and once-in-a-generation talent down to just her identity, all while professing to champion women's sports.
And then when you add in that she shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson and Pistol Pete Maravich, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists, that like she's a great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting.
The backlash against McNutt has been so fierce that fans are urging ESPN to reevaluate her position. When a sports analyst misses the mark this badly, overlooking the real basketball reasons behind a player's popularity, audiences naturally question their credibility and impartiality. This controversy highlights the high stakes of sports commentary today, where analysts are increasingly held accountable for their statements. Most importantly, fans from all backgrounds have rallied behind Clark. Basketball enthusiasts across the country have come together to celebrate her game, showing that her appeal goes far beyond race. This widespread support emphasizes how sports can unite people rather than divide them along demographic lines.
They can't have that discussion, and so they keep it real simple. And they give simplistic answers because they're not willing to have the true discussion about why Caitlin Clark is so popular. She reflects values that are relatable to kids who come from two-parent homes. That's regardless of color. Kids that come from two-parent homes can relate to Caitlin Clark because they have more in common with her values.
This isn't simply about one poorly received interview. McNutt's dismissive stance toward Clark has been building for years. Evidence traces back to 2024, when McNutt audaciously suggested that Clark deserved just 60% of the credit for the Indiana Fever reaching the playoffs, 60% for the player who completely transformed the franchise. This wasn't a one-off hot take. It marked the start of a recurring pattern.
Perhaps Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch, and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy. Why was Magic Johnson so popular? Black, white, whatever. The man played with joy. Biggest smile on his face, happy-go-lucky Magic Johnson.
Monica McNutt's dismissive takes on Caitlin Clark ignore the reality. Clark isn't popular because of her race or background. She's transforming women's basketball. From shattering NCAA records to hitting logo threes, threading no-look passes, and leading the Indiana Fever's resurgence, Clark has become the league's biggest draw, captivating fans of all backgrounds. Critics like McNutt focus on identity, while Clark's skill, vision, and competitive fire are changing the game, boosting viewership, attendance, and excitement. With teammates like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall, the Fever are building a championship-caliber team, and Clark's impact is at the center of a cultural shift that's bringing new fans to the sport.